Well, I just wanted to do a quick video on doing braid on a Scotty Downrigger. I already have some on there, and in the springtime I either like stripping off 10-20 feet, cutting it off and reattaching it, or actually flipping the whole line, peeling it all off and flipping it. So I'll show how it's attached. I haven't found any videos on how to thread braid through, or the steel cable, so it's the same. So I'll just peel it off, flip it, and show how it's reattached and how I like to tie my knots in the braid. Advantages of using the braid over the steel cable is you don't get the hum that you get from a steel cable. The thinner diameter, you get less blowback on it, so it's a more vertical line. Easier to repair. If you find any fraying in it, you just peel off a couple feet, cut it, reattach it. Takes a minute to do, pretty easy to do. Where steel cable, you need some tools to do it, so, and it's a little easier on the hands. If you end up getting a fray in the steel cable, you end up poking yourself. So braid's definitely the way to go. You definitely have to watch it a little more, because if it does start to wear, it can fail a little quicker than the steel cable. But definitely worth switching over to braid. It's a lot better. So I'll start off, I'll peel off all this line, flip it, and then show how it's attached. Okay, so the first thing to show you here, if you're peeling off steel cable or the braid, to make it easier, just remove the belt and it'll come off a little easier, a little quicker. So that's the first step, and I'll just hand bomb all this stuff off and then flip it end for end. So when you get down to the end of the spool, this is how the steel cable or the braid gets attached. There's two holes in the top of the spool. It gets fed through, and you tie yourself a knot. The steel cable's crimped, so I'll cut that off, flip it end for end, tie the new stuff on, and I'll show you how that's done. So the braid is flipped end for end. Just feed it through the end wheel, through the guides, and I'll show you how we reattach it. This can be a little tricky. Easiest part, let's see if we can, sun's hard. Just put a little kink into the braid. We feed it up through that hole. So we got the braid coming up, feed it back down. And pull lots of line out. So the knot I like to use is a uni knot, super easy to tie. And you're able to kind of tie it anywhere and then slide it off. So if this doesn't show up too well, I'll show it. So we just pinch the two lines, make a loop, grab the tag end, and we'll run it around into the loop, and we'll do that 5 or 6 times. And slowly pull the tag end and try to keep everything nice and straight as you tighten it. And we got a nice knot here. So you should be able to see that pretty well. So it's through the rigger, up, down, and you got yourself a big loop to the uni knot. We got the tag end, and grab the tag end here, and you can pull it on it and tighten it up. And with the uni knot, you can still slide that knot in towards the spool of the downrigger here. I'll try to zoom in here. and just grab the knot and push it up. So we have our tag end here, the other end going, that'll eventually go to the ball, and when it's tight, pull on the braid as hard as you can, tighten that knot up, give the tag end a little tug, and that's it. I really like the uni knot, they're really easy to tie, secure, not going to slip, and we'll just cut off the tag end there. So there we go, we got the new knot tied in. You don't need to leave really much of a tag, it's not going to slip. Top view. So like I said, I took the belt off just to take it off. It's into a free spool, so the line comes off a little easier. We'll just feed it back on. And so, put some tension onto the braid with your hand as you feed it in. Might want to wear gloves on this. And we'll just bring the line in. So now we got the end of the line here. This is a section of line that was on the inside of the spool for the last year. So like I said, I like flipping it around or peeling off 20-30 feet, cutting it and starting with new. So we start off with a rubber bumper here. They have a small hole and a big hole. Big hole goes towards the downrigger, so we'll slide that on. I like running the snubbers. They're supposed to break at around 75 pounds, so if you got hung up on the bottom, it'll snap and save you from trashing your downrigger. So we got the clip end that goes to the ball, our swivel. Once again, I like doing a uni knot. So we'll feed it through, and I like going through twice. And just line it up so that they're not crossed over. Give yourself a lot of tag end here. Pinch it with your tag end, form a loop and pinch that in your thumb, so you got the 3 lines here, and you got your loop. Grab your tag end, and we'll go through 6 times. 2. Grab that last one here. So it's really important to keep those twists in a row as you tighten it up. So just take your time and pull on the tag end. I usually use my mouth here, so it's a little awkward doing it just with 2 hands. But just slide that. There we go. So we got the braid coming through around twice into our uni knot. And we'll grab it and just slowly pull it down. Like wrapping it around my hand. and pull as hard as you can. On the main line, we got our tag in here. Give that a little pull, and it'll actually pull the knot away a bit. So we'll pull the tag in tight, grab the main line again, grab the knot with your fingers, slide it down towards the swivel, pull again as hard as you can, and there you go. That's how you attach braid to a Scotty Downrigger. He said way better to go with braid than the steel cable. A lot nicer to work with. And like I said, if you have any problems in the field, it takes a minute to retie this knot and you're good to go. No tools required. And that's a bomb-proof way to doing it. I already had a couple of the stops I just threw on there. They just get woven through. There we go, that's in focus. I like running 2 because sometimes they tend to slide if they get caught up on anything. So if you run 2, they kind of jam against each other and they're not going to move. The other option is going with their Scotty's Sure Stop section. That's a pre-measured amount of tuna cord. And like I said, we got our bumper stop, small end towards the ball. And we'll just cut off that tag end. And with the uni knot, you don't need to leave any tag. It's not going to slip. Down. There we go. And that's all there is to it. So the last thing you need to do, unless you're putting on the exact same amount of line here, your counter is going to be off. So the counter works, there's just this little wheel, 4 pegs, so just move it so the pegs aren't there, and just spin this by hand until you hit 0.